In this video, I would like to show how to disprove evolution in less than 3 minutes.
Hello, Zaid. I'm pure carbon, and I seriously doubt that.
So let's get started. Point number 1. What is the main basis of evolution?
I would say that changes in the gene pool of an organism as a result of a wide range of different factors like mutation, genetic diversity, or natural selection over a long period of time is the main basis of evolution. But let's hear what you think it is.
I.e., what is the main pillar on which evolution theory is built upon? Now the answer is that the basis of evolution, that genes are transferred from one generation to another. These produce an organism's inherited traits.
Yeah, these genes can and do change over time. You forgot to mention that last part.
In other words, that genes and DNA, they store the design characteristics of a creature, like its shape. It passes on from one generation to another, so if changes occur in a certain generation, the genes and the DNA, they are responsible for passing this information to another generation.
Yeah, still no argument. You seem to understand these concepts pretty well, and yet you don't believe in it. Which is strange. I'm sure you'll get to your point eventually, and I'll be there to debunk it.
Point number 2. Let's see whether this is correct or false. Because if the foundation of evolution is proven to be false, then there is no theory of evolution. Like a house cannot stand without its foundation.
Well, it is true, and it's been tested and proven countless times, so yeah.
So as you can see on the screen, let's start from left to right. On the left we have the cell, which is the workspace of genes and DNA, meaning that genes and DNA, they can only work within the cell. And when the DNA is read, proteins are produced and they're excreted outside of the cell. Let's take the collagen protein as an example. So as you can see in the middle, we have millions and millions of collagen proteins outside of the cell. And they are no longer under the control of the genes and the DNA. So the big question, how do these millions and millions of proteins know to arrange themselves in the perfect order of the human hand, as you can see on the right?
Oh my god. You were doing so well until you... First off, DNA produces different kinds of proteins, and because they are different, they go to make different tissues of the body. As a result of this, that is what creates different shapes of the body. And here's a fun fact for you. Just as a side note, the human body contains over 2 million different kinds of proteins, each one carrying out different functions.
The answer is that this is not under the control of genes and DNA, the shaping of the collagen molecules in the shape of the human hand.
And what is controlling it? Because we know that it's happening, so is it God? Or I guess it would be Allah for you, wouldn't it?
Because as I said, genes and DNA, they can only work within the cell.
Yes, but after they create the proteins which circulate in the blood and travel all throughout the body, these proteins then do some pretty awesome things, like allow cells to communicate in a way, or create things like your hair or your fingernails, as well as a ton of other different things.
So the main conclusion from here is that genes and DNA, they do not contain the shape or formation of a creature.
Just because they don't have the physical shape of the organism doesn't mean they can't create these complex shapes or structures. To prove this, I want you to take a look at this LED matrix that I've programmed. If you look at the code that I've created that makes this work, you don't see the physical shape of the image on the matrix, but instead a bunch of words and symbols that look like a bunch of nonsense to someone who doesn't understand the language. In a similar way, you don't see the physical shape or the complex structures in the DNA, but instead a series of nucleotides that are then translated into proteins which create these complex structures.
And thus, they cannot pass on this information one generation to another, and so if changes occur in one generation, DNA and genes cannot pass on this information.
Nope, you're a moron, and I destroyed your argument, so now please stop talking.
So this shows that the basis of evolution is wrong, and thus there is no theory of evolution.
I thought I told you to go away. Why are you still here? Shoo.
And may the peace and blessings of Allah, God Almighty, be upon you all.
Yeah, no, you're a moron still. So, have a nice day. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this coming really soon. Also, please consider checking me out on all my social media and liking this video if you haven't already.